Yo, in today's video, we'll be looking at creepy and bizarre TikToks that are going to make you question everything.
The Pope is the highest individual there at the Vatican.
What makes you think that?
A lot of individuals have studied this very extensively, and I'm somewhat one of them that believes that even presidents and the Pope are all just puppets. I think that things are changing in a way that they haven't really been before. We haven't had all this technology and all these things, and eventually information is going to get out enough, that 1% we talked about, to shift that collective.
What does that do?
What happens is, imagine humanity is like a singular organism. It's in terms of consciousness. And we have what's called a collective consciousness. It means that we all live in a reality together, right? And we share ideas, but there's this driving direction of humanity based on the average amount of people that believe in something similar. The average person goes to work and gets up, pays their bills, and I think that whole thing, though, is shifting. I think we should stop comparing to what hasn't happened before. Like, the Vatican Archives hasn't released anything, and they're powerful and...
Wait, what is this? Hey, that looked like a wave or something at first. Man, y'all think they out here really like controlling and like making tornadoes in certain areas to intentionally destroy certain places? It's possible. Man, when I was a kid, right, I used to always tell myself, if I ever see a tornado, I'm going to just run up to the bottom of it and I'm going to grab it like Hercules and spin it around and throw it away. Yeah, right. I would not even get close to one. That's crazy.
This is the Grand Canyon. See, I supposed to shrunk it, bro. Let me show y'all something. Let me shrink that right quick. Y'all hold tight. Y'all hold tight. Let me shrink that. Y'all roll the coin while I'm gone. Roll the coin. I'll be right. Check this out, y'all. This is the Grand Canyon. This the Grand Canyon. The same fucking, that's the bow and arrow going that way. This is a Rand's belt right here. It's Mintaka, Analium or Anatok. It's three temples right there. The Temple of Isis is right here. The Tower of Set is still making the fucking, look. It's still making the same fucking layout. Look. Look at that. Now look at this. It's the same shit, man. We know the truth now.
Y'all think there was a way to get energy from the stars back in the day?
I can't believe they talking about there's a fucking mountain called Mount Erebus or whatever the fuck in Antarctica, and that motherfucker is spilling gold rain. Dog, 80 grams of gold dust?
Y'all trying to catch a flight here to Antarctica? You know what I'm saying? Trying to get some gold real quick? That's crazy. It's raining gold.
$6,000 a day. That's motherfucking weird. And now we know why they don't want us to go to motherfucking Antarctica. You got motherfucking volcanoes erupting of gold. Dog. Man, ain't no telling what the fuck's going on. I know y'all seen that motherfucking blob video that ain't going around that I showed y'all a couple weeks ago after the eclipse, that shit in the motherfucking ocean over there by motherfucking Antarctica. I think this shit might coincide with each other, dog, because that's creepy as a motherfucker.
And they probably low key out there mining Antarctica right now, and that's why can't nobody go out there, or they're trying to. You know, they probably found something and they're trying to get as much of it as they can before anybody knows. So then, when people are able to go there, they won't know what was really there in the first place.
They said it's doing it every day. This active volcano been shooting out gold. Now, gold is a motherfucking jewel, dog. There's a lot of shit you can do with gold. And there was a theory about the Anunnaki coming to this planet for monotonic gold for their atmosphere, dog. But I must say this. If I was in motherfucking Antarctica and that motherfucking volcano start shooting gold dust every motherfucking where, I may get a shit ton of buckets and collect every motherfucking thing, dog. That's a big fact. Now, you know, whoever owned this shit, man, they getting a lot of motherfucking paper, and ain't no telling how many other volcanoes is doing this shit too. And explain to me how the fuck this is even possible, dog. There's so many wonders of this motherfucking world we don't know about. What the fuck would you do if you came across the volcano erupting gold? Not lava. You motherfuckers need to go inside that motherfucker. I'm sure y'all already been inside the volcano. Ain't no way in the motherfucking hell a volcano shooting gold dust, motherfucker, and y'all ain't doing nothing with it. That's a big fact. I'm sure y'all drilling like a motherfucker over there in Antarctica for this motherfucking gold, dog. That's a big fact. Let a brother get some of that. Let a brother get some of that motherfucking gold, dog. I needs it. That's a big fact. As you can see,
You got a little gold, man.
I love motherfucking gold. I like the way it look on my melanated skin, dog. I love gold. You can keep all that platinum shit. I'm cool on that shit. Give me some motherfucking gold. I don't want it bust down or nothing. Just solid gold. My favorite rings is motherfucking golden nuggets. I got one, dog. Best believe that. And I love it. Now, if I come across some gold shooting out the motherfucking sky, dog, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I'm gonna keep this shit a secret for quite a bit until I can collect me enough to get the fuck on up out of here. But after that, I tell y'all, these motherfuckers, they been knew about this gold and they wasn't saying a motherfucking thing. I can't even believe this shit is on the news. I can't believe they even told us about this shit, dog. But it been happening and they just now telling us. So you know what that mean. There's a lot more. There's a lot motherfucking more, dog. Peace.
You know what I find really interesting about this whole TikTok ban, which first of all, people, someone else will buy the app. It's going to be fine. But now people are finally saying that they won't vote for Biden because of the whole TikTok ban. Like, this was the thing that broke your vote. None of the other stuff that he's done swayed you. Just happened to be the TikTok ban. Not inflation, not all these different wars, not that he pretty much wears a diaper. The TikTok ban was it. To me, that just shows how spoiled and privileged a lot of Americans are, that is their number one priority. I also just think this is a sort of way of people just finding a reason to just not vote for Biden. And if that means a TikTok ban, then people will say that. We all know that people don't want to vote for Joe, but they want a specific reason as to why. So, nothing else. No world events that have swayed their vote. It's an app that plays videos.
These mothers in Iowa, Oklahoma, Nebraska. Where else? What other states got tornadoes?
All around the world, we see evidence of humongous, giant trees that have been cut down. I mean, we see this evidence and we're like, that's a mountain. Oh, no. That's not a saw from a giant where they cut down a giant tree. Nothing like that. No. No. Those are mountains. But did the Bible tell us exactly when these trees were alive and when they were destroyed? Open your doors, Lebanon, so that fire may devour your cedars. Wail, you juniper, for the cedar has fallen. The stately trees are ruined. Wail, oaks of Bashan. The dense forest has been cut down. Listen to the wail of the shepherds. Their rich pastures are destroyed. Listen to the roar of the lions. The lush thicket of the Jordan is ruined. Zechariah 11, 1-3. So maybe those trees really were real. Maybe those giant trees really were giant, and they were destroyed by some giants. Or maybe they were destroyed by God. We'll never know, will we? But the mystery carries on, and so do we. Follow for more as long as you can. Let me know what you think below.
The U.S. government just released, apparently by accident, the Project Aqua stuff. Did you see this?
No. What's that? Retrieving data across dimensional space-time, develop remote viewing comms and countermeasures, determine baseline for physical transport across dimensional space-time barrier, rapid response medical teams for UFO interaction events. So how did they do this accidentally? Study conscious interactions with and control of technology.
So I got this from someone in the U.S. government who's well, look, let me just start by saying that, I don't know anything. But he sent me this. The above is 100% legit. I was read into this program, but told never to tell anyone. It's now been released. As you can see, it began as a result of my old program, AATIP. I signed a document saying I would never talk about Kona Blue and similar efforts. I can't believe the AARO would have released it. Look,
Yeah.
I mean, here's what we do know, is that there's enough going on in the skies, but not just the skies, underwater, that the U.S. military has been forced to respond to it. So, move aircraft from one place to another because there are too many of these objects in the sky. That's actually happened. Chris Mellon just wrote a long piece about it. So it's real. The government is not controlling it. In fact, it's forcing the government, DOD, to respond. And we know that there is a real effort, and has been underway for a long time, to keep the public from knowing about it. But that's all known. That's established. I don't think any rational person would deny that. The question is, what is it, actually? I mean, now is sort of the point where you have to ask, what is this?
What y'all think it is? What's going on? Dang, this the aftermath? Them look like some nice houses, too. I mean, it don't matter if your house is nice or not.
That roof is
but
off.
still. Ooh-wee. That's crazy.
Perdón que te corte, Dante, discúlpame. Tenemos un objeto muy grande que se va desplazando por debajo de la luna a unos
Y'all see that moving?
casi 20 grados de altitud. No, va muy cerquita del cerro. Sí, Dante, afirmativo, porque va muy al ras del cerro de acá de la montaña. Muy grande. Estamos esperando a ver si podemos ver si se le ve algún destello, algo, porque pensamos que puede ser un avión, pero es muy grande la luz.
Ahí apareció el otro.
3 son, mirá.
3. Qué copa.
No. Qué bonito.
You trying to get their attention or something? What's that?
Hermoso, gracias, hermosa.
Fantástico, gracias. Wow, papá, qué hermoso. Ahí se paró. Wow.
That's crazy.
Oh!
They was communicating, y'all. Did y'all see that?
We are reliving the year 1994. It's just a whole nother cycle.
It's about the Knicks, right?
Yep. In 1994, the Knicks were in the number 2 seed.
Yep.
and they made it to the NBA Finals. In 2024, what seed are we? The 2nd seed. So
free Julius Randle, bruh.
But I also got some more. So in 1994, the New York Rangers, #1 overall seed, and they won the Stanley Cup. This year, they're the #1 overall seed, but the Stanley Cup just started. In 1994, there was an earthquake in New York. In 2024, there was an earthquake in New York. In 1994, the Detroit Pistons were one of the worst teams in the NBA. 2004, the Detroit Pistons are one of the worst teams in the NBA. The Washington Commanders in 1994 had 13 losses. In 2024, they had 13 losses. In 1994, that's when O.J. Simpson was going around in the Bronco.
Oh, they say, yeah.
Now in 2024, O.J. Simpson died.
Rest in peace of Juice.
So if the Knicks go to the finals, you will see no regulars over there with the prop table and the mics, and we are going to talk to fans.
Yeah, I might be in the game. I don't know what he's talking about.
He said, I'm finna go to the game. That is crazy, though.
For this, a military veteran arrested for feeding the homeless in Dayton, Ohio.
Police arrested a veteran, an organizer with Nourish Our Neighbors, who gave food to a poor person.
I cannot stress enough. A veteran was arrested for handing someone a burrito.
2 burritos. John M. Zimmerman.
Officer John M. Zimmerman.
Officer J. M. Zimmerman arrested a veteran who also happens to be my husband of 6 years for handing our beloved community member, Johnny, 2 burritos. I cannot imagine the shame and guilt you must all feel for letting a man get arrested for showing a basic act of kindness. I know that you know this was a really big mistake. I know that Zimmerman knows this was a really big mistake because while his personal desire was to haul my husband to jail and make him stay overnight and pay $500 in fines, magically my husband was let out of the cruiser.
Free food is not a crime.
City Ordinance 137-21 is
Section 137.21.
City Ordinance 137-21, the direct reflection of the criminalization of the unhoused and a direct reflection of the criminalization of those who want to help. Does the city of Dayton really want to enforce unjust and unconstitutional laws?
We demand the prompt repeal of Section 137.21 of the Municipal Code regarding preparing and distributing food in public places within the central area of the city. It forces those who would help the most destitute in our area to leap through their armpits in various ways, coughing up $50 every time they want to conduct a free distribution, with no guarantee that the city will permit it, nor is the city required to refund the $50.
It's crazy that you guys will have us pay to do something that you won't do.
Section G of this ordinance telegraphs to me the major motivation for it. It states, quote, "This section does not apply to any person issued a food vendor's permit or license by the Montgomery County Combined Health District." There you have it. The city of Dayton cannot tolerate charitable souls interfering with the private sector.
We shouldn't have to be out here as people who can barely make it ourselves, paying for all these people as well when you guys have the money.
I am building up my community and picking up all of your slack. The need for our unhoused neighbors to be taken care of and given essential items comes directly from the negligence of every single one of you up there. I know for y'all money triumphs all, but for so many of us, community is everything. You are stripping us of that. Every day I find new reasons to feel shame and sadness that I call the Gym City home when the poorest of us can't even build community. What everyone here, including the officers present at the square, fail to realize is that the community is my family. This city claims to be a human rights city, but will arrest you for feeding a stranger for free. What a joke.
To quote Adrienne Reek, if you are trying to transform a brutalized society into one where people can live in dignity and hope, you begin with empowering of the most powerless. You build from the ground up, and that is exactly what our mutual aid efforts are. Empowering those who are abused and ignored by the systems in place that you all uphold.
Do the right thing. Stand with the people.
Power and liberation to the
That ain't
people.
gonna happen.
Thank you.
That ain't gonna happen. Everything that they complaining about, the people they talking about don't care about the homeless. They'd rather them just starve, croak over, and get them up out of here. That's all they care about. Don't feed them. Don't enable them. We don't want them on our front doorsteps. Ew. So you got to think about that aspect of it too. Who's really in charge and who's running these things? You know, it's not really about community anymore. It's about these people wanting to, protect themselves in a way in their own interests. But that is crazy, though. You get arrested for giving a man some free food. Hey, next time I see somebody begging for food, I'm like, hey, I'm sorry, I can't do it. Can't do it. I'm not trying to go to jail. My bad.
To that company, and this is how they repay me. With a free stapler and a kick in the designer pantsuit. All those unethical business practices, those shady backdoor deals I did. I know where the bodies are buried.
Why would she say that? What a weird thing to put in a cartoon.
Yo, let me find out Angelica's mom was the hitman or something like that, yo. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? The real diva, huh? Oh, it's from Hindu.
Do y'all think it's fishy? Just a little bit fishy. We're in the year 2024, okay? Columbus sailed the ocean blue in 1492, right? That's the saying. That's what they say. Well, there's a theory going around that that's not exactly what happened, and Columbus is, in fact, a made-up character. Yes, to change his story around to be his story instead of actual history. What I find is crazy is that nobody wanted to sail across that ocean before 1492. Like nobody?
Listen to what she's saying. That's a long time in terms of history, and that 1492 number, that's just a new date. They just started a new date from that, you know. So there was years before that, and nobody wanted to cross that ocean. Everyone was just on that side. They was all just in Europe and then Africa and then Asia. No one was over here. Does it make sense?
Nobody was like, hey, y'all, we should just send a boat over there in like the 300s. I mean, Vikings have been sailing the ocean blue for centuries, so why didn't they go over to America? How did it not happen until 1492, y'all? That's less than 600 years ago. What is that, 12 generations? 10 generations ago? And then, like, when they found the place, there wasn't that many people that wanted to come and, like, inhabit it. And when they did find the place, how could they be like, oh, we found the place, when there was already a civilization here? Like, there was already a civilization living here with cities and all kind of shit, right? But they were like, it was us. We discovered it. I'm not so sure about that. I think that Columbus sailed the ocean blue a little bit longer than before 1492. And if you look at some of these maps that originate well before 1492, you'll see that Antarctica is on there. Not frozen as well. They have pictures that depict like valleys and mountains and a tropical terrain and like animals that live there and stuff and the people that live there. So how did they not discover Antarctica until what was it, like the 1700s or something? I don't know. That's a little fishy to me. And then they took a whole continent, Australia, and decided that whole entire continent was going to be a prison continent. Like, how did they have so many prisoners? And that feeds into the theory of like all these orphans that came over in the 18 and 1900s that didn't have any parents, and we had so many orphanages. But where did their parents go? What if they were sent to Australia? Because how did we have so many people doing so many things bad that you had to ship them all off to an actual whole entire other continent? Not another island, not a prison, a whole continent was a prison continent. Y'all, this shit don't sound right.
Not to mention that when they got there, they killed every person, almost every person on the whole island. You know what I'm saying? The whole continent. It's crazy. Look it up.
We go through school numbly, just numbly believing this stuff. Numbingly believing shit. Just like, okay, why? Because we were on this memorization schedule. As long as you memorize the right answer for that test, for that sentence, you got it right and you got straight A's. Never mind the people who were, imagining other worlds in their minds during that test. You know, like, never mind them. They're the ones that have ADD. We need to give them a pill. Y'all, the world has gone crazy. Make sure that your children are questioning things, questioning their teachers, questioning us about this shit. Like, question it yourself. Don't believe everything so blindly. We were brainwashed to just believe people. Just believe these books. Just believe shit. Never question it. Because if you question it, you got in trouble. You know, fall in line with the others. Get back in line. Keep quiet. Don't question me. I know more than you. I went to college where I was indoctrinated, you know. I'm just saying question everything, friends. That's how we get forward in life. And history is only that. His story. Follow for more as long as you can.
Listen, I tell my kids, hey, question everything. But don't question me. Straight up. They're supposed to be in space. Oh man. Oh, God. The flap is flapping. Just get down here, Bob. I'm trying. Can't close it. I don't know if it's the laughing or the video.
We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the solar curl or what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any. You can see the stars.
Oh yeah.
You know, and pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing any.
I was doing some research on the New York City subway stations, and it's interesting because they said that the subway stations were founded in 1904 and they opened in 1905.
Founded. Think about that word. Founded. Hey, I found it in 1904. And I opened it in 1905. I didn't build it, I found it.
So they were found, that's what founded means. They were found in 1904 and they opened 1 year later. They didn't build them, they just took ownership of these tunnels that are deep underneath New York City. And it's interesting because when you look at all of these tunnels, you sit there and think, okay, you go up above on the street, you got horse and wagon and all this stuff roaming around, but you're building these massive tunnels cutting through the earth. Take a perfect example. Go outside, get a shovel, and see how far you can go in the earth. Especially in a time around the 1900s where it's very challenging to do that. There's no construction photos. There's just like 4 people standing in front of a tunnel saying that we built it. You would think if you did the first subway ever that people are blown away that they could go in, you'd have photos galore. But you only have one photo of 4 people standing in front of a tunnel saying that you found or founded the tunnels of New York City.
Yeah, man, I wonder what the subways or the tunnels are in New York City. Like, I wonder how far down it goes, you know? Like, is that the top of something? You know, is there more levels underneath? Or what it was really created for back in the day? Because, actually, there's another video I seen, too, about the tunnels. And they were talking about how they put all this dirt in a certain spot, you know, and how, man, it just didn't make sense at all. I'm going to have to try to find that video for you guys.
You have mentioned that there's interdimensional potential. Could you expound on that?
And then in terms of multidimensionality, that kind of thing, the framework that I'm familiar with, for example, is something called the holographic principle. It derives itself from general relativity and quantum mechanics. And that is, if you want to imagine a 3D object such as yourself casting a shadow onto a 2D surface, that's the holographic principle. So you can be projected, quasi-projected from higher dimensional space to lower dimensional. It's a scientific trope that you can actually cross, literally, as far as I understand, but there's probably guys or PhDs that we could probably argue about that.
But you have not seen any documentation that that's what's occurring.
Only a theoretical framework discussion. Yes.
Okay.
Take your buckle up, I started eating somebody up, and then it all clicked in my mind real quick. Parthenogenesis is the story of Genesis, literally. They are literally telling you the story of how the Eve gene mutated and was creating children, self-ether, non-ether beings, through the process of parthenogenesis. Really look at Genesis. God created these things? No. They literally told you the cycles of getting implanted and literally creating a child inside of her body. I can't do it today. Think about it. The seventh day, the Sabbath day, they're talking about a menstrual cycle. They're literally talking about from ovulation, the sun, the circling, the going around. It's a full circle of ovulation. And then if you think about it, all the calendars and 28 days that connect into our cycles, the 13 freaking spots on a turtle. The Bible is literally a story about women going through parthenogenesis and what they did and how they sacrificed the sons and the daughters, which is how they put the bronze feet on the cross. The cross, Jesus wasn't one person, or even a man at that. And then they tell you a story about the Garden of Eden, and then you realize that Antarctica is the Garden of Eden. It's the actual Garden of Eden where 2/3 of the water.
That was crazy, y'all. I just thought about it. I'm reacting to him, reacting to them. And she was reacting to her. It's just a big reaction.
So long, suckers. They uncovered the truth.
See? That's crazy.
Same old space, huh, Dad?
Yep. Jealous?
Well, no, we've got the same chair.
You're jealous.
Your membership pack.
What's this?
You put that sticker on your car so you won't get any tickets. And this other one keeps paramedics from stealing your wallet while working on you.
Oh, and don't bother calling 911 anymore. Here's the real number.
Ooh, wow.
Who controls the British pound? Who keeps the metric system down? We do. We do.
Who leaves Atlantis off the maps?
Who keeps the Martians under wraps?
We do.
The untold truth about
that
the
was
moon.
crazy.
Now, for the people who don't know, the sun represents masculine energy and the moon represents feminine energy. If you didn't know that by now, now you know. The whole entire universe is inside of you, bro. How you didn't know that? Everything that you see on the outside of you reflects your inner world. Everything is actually happening inside of you, but you just gotta pay attention to the universe a little bit more closer. You see, that's why I got the yin and yang tatted on my neck, because you are the moon and you are the sun. Take a closer look at my tattoo, y'all. It's fire, ain't it? But I'm getting off track right now. Let's get back talking about this moon, y'all. Now, me personally, I experienced some crazy things outside of my door when I started looking at the moon, y'all. Like, really started looking at it. Could y'all explain to me, like, how does something appear in the sky and then disappear and then appear again? Like, how does that happen? I know I'm not the only one who go outside and looks up in the sky and question the moon, bro. Like, come on. What if the moon is a holographic projection of our brain? What if what we see in the sky is actually not the moon, but it's like some construction base or something? Every time I start to turn my head and look up at the moon, it always disappears when I turn my head and look back at it. Like, how does that happen, bro? Could y'all please explain that to me, bro? Like, I understand the moon represents feminine energy, but it's something else fishy about that moon that y'all don't know, bro. I'm telling y'all, bro, this is not a conspiracy theorist. You just gotta start using your mind. You don't know what you're really looking at when you look up in that sky. That could be a holographic, bro. That could be not real. They already done told y'all a whole bunch of bullcrap stuff in school about some moon landing. Like, that ain't nobody never go to no dang moon, bro. Stop lying to them people enough. They don't want to tell y'all the real truth. The earth might be flat and we might be really living in a dome, y'all. I made a video about that. So if y'all want to go check that out, go check that out, man. And I also forgot to mention that the moon and the sun is going around each other. How is that possible? So technically, The Simpsons showed us that the moon and the sun is stuck inside the dome. You ever thought about how does the moon and the sun go around each other? I thought they told y'all in school that the sun and the moon cannot be out at the same time. But that's not what I see when I go outside. I be seeing the sun and the moon out at the same time. So please explain to me, how is that possible, y'all? Them teachers in that school been getting paid, a lot of y'all, bro, because I'm telling y'all, I'm putting y'all on game right now so y'all can know the full truth. And I also forgot to mention, have y'all ever seen this logo? You have, let me know down in the comments because I'm finna get deep. Disney Channel know dang well this is symbolism. It's something deep behind this picture, y'all. See how the little kid is on the moon, he got a fish hook in his hand. Now what is he fishing for, y'all? Really think about that. That's why I told y'all in the beginning of the video it was something fishy about that moon. I was just saying that so y'all can catch on to what I'm really talking about. Remember how they told y'all when you die don't go to the light? They talking about this light, the false light which is appearing in the sky, the moon. This picture right here literally looks like he's fishing for souls, y'all. Pay attention to it. If you went to Christianity and this video is going over your head, I'm sorry, I gotta put my chosen ones on because they need to know. Anyways, y'all stay woke and dangerous, gang. Love y'all. Follow me for more.
Dropping gems. That's crazy.
The earliest destination for New World copper and corn was the Middle East. Here we see a genie holding a corn cob. This Assyrian artifact dates to about 900 BC. Most doctrinaire scholars identify the seed pod as a pine cone. However, the artistic and agricultural context of the Assyrian civilization suggests that the genie is actually holding a cob of maize. Here is another example. Here's another one. McInerney says that the Assyrians were famous for growing huge supplies of grain, not for planting pine trees. Indeed, most of the items that we see in the hands of genies look more like corn cobs than they do pine cones. Illustration is from a Babylonian stone tablet. It shows two riders on horseback moving alongside parallel corn rows. 1000 BC. The genie on the left is from a stone slab in the British Museum. The Birdman on the right was sold at Sotheby's auction house in London. They date to a period from about 700 to 900 BC. In the middle is an example of the corn plant from another Babylonian tablet. Notice they are all very similar. Here is an example of the Babylonian tree of life. It is a tree of corn cobs. Each branch terminates in an ear of maize.
As I told you guys, these are corn deities, not aliens. We know the truth now.
Yo, no lie. They say that Thoth, or, I think that's how you say his name. They say he came from America as well, and he's the spreader of knowledge. So I'm pretty sure, America is the true old world.
Died in a bizarre car accident in the Mar Vista neighborhood of Los Angeles. Initially, law enforcement suggested Ann was under the influence and acting erratically at the time of the accident. However, the final autopsy report from the LA County Medical Examiner clarified that Ann was not impaired by any substances and had no active substances in her system. Moving to Stephen Twitch, boss. He passed away on December 13th, 2022, and the official cause was declared a self-inflicted injury to the head. Fans are still deeply puzzled by this tragedy, and many doubt the official explanation. Here's what we know about Twitch's last day. On December 12th, he left his home on foot and checked into the Oak Tree Inn in Encino, Los Angeles, just a 15-minute walk from the house he shared with his wife, Allison, and their 3 children. The next day, Allison panicked when she noticed Twitch was gone while his car was still at home. She rushed to the local police station, insisting that Twitch's disappearance was alarming since he never went anywhere without his car. The police followed her back to check for clues. Shortly afterward, the motel where Twitch had checked in called the police to report that they had found him in the bathroom of his room. Despite the official cause of death, fans find it hard to accept that Twitch could have taken his own life, especially since he always appeared to be a genuinely happy person who loved his family deeply. Not too long before he passed, Twitch and Allison were openly thinking about adding another little one to the family. They also celebrated their wedding anniversary just 4 days before Twitch's tragic passing, and Twitch posted a sweet tribute to Allison on Instagram. It's important to remember that just because someone seems happy on the outside doesn't mean they're not struggling privately. Depressed people can be really good at hiding their struggles, even from those closest to them. On the other hand, a lot of people felt that something didn't quite add up about the official story of Twitch's death, especially concerning a mysterious note he supposedly left in the motel room. Initially, media reports claimed no note was found, but law enforcement sources later told TMZ that Twitch had left a note mentioning past challenges, though they didn't specify what those challenges were. Despite the note and the official autopsy report, many fans are still skeptical about the circumstances surrounding Twitch's death, finding it hard to believe that he would leave his family. Now that Ellen's friendship with Diddy is getting a lot of attention, some folks are wondering if Twitch was caught up in something shady. To be clear, there's no proof that Twitch was tight with Diddy or hit up any of his parties. But since Diddy was so close to Ellen and Twitch worked for her for nearly a decade, people can't help but speculate if Twitch knew more than what was safe about the duo.
Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that.
Yeah.
But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party.
Uh-huh.
No, it'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean the after party.
Mm-hmm. No, I know about them.
Could Twitch have stumbled upon something about Ellen and Diddy that pushed him to the edge?
Yo, was Twitch at the Diddy parties? That would be crazy, wouldn't it?
According to some fans, the similarities between
Not really,
Ellen and
I
Diddy
guess.
are pretty striking. Besides the rumors that Ellen used to go to Diddy's parties, there's chatter that they might be involved in some shady industry circle where all sorts of sketchy things happen behind the scenes. What do you think about this whole Ellen and Diddy connection and what happened to Twitch? Let us know all about it down in the comments section.
And
Hello, my name is Alfred Bielik, more commonly known as Al Bielik. Original family name is Edward Cameron. I have been involved in the Philadelphia experiment, the Montauk Project, time travel, alien connections of the Montauk Project, and some other projects, all of which have been secret over the years, most of which have never been declassified. I wound up in the 28th century, and this was in the time period of 2749 to 2751 AD. Talk about changes in civilization, society, and everything else. It was drastically changed from what we saw in 2137, as this is now 600 years later. The cities were enormous. The cities were beautiful. They had round-faced cities, much as we have always had them, but they also had something else. Floating cities. Floating cities, due to anti-gravity techniques being perfected sufficiently that they could float an entire city, which was perhaps not as large as any of our current cities. It was round, or very nearly round, but it floated on this platform, and they could move the city any place they wanted, remaining floating in the air, 4,000 or 5,000 feet above the ground, perhaps, or a little less, depending on what they wanted. But the size of the city was vertical rather than horizontal, 2,200 stories high. That's about 2.5 miles. The cities could move anywhere on the planet. Basically, they stayed hovering and floating. Or if they didn't like a particular location, they'd move somewhere else. There wasn't that much traffic in moving cities, I can assure you, because the world population in that era, the 28th century, was only 500 million, and I was instructed later that that was where they had held it for centuries. There would be no more than approximately 500 million population. Some of the features of this, let's start from the political standpoint. As I learned, all of these cities, whether they're ground-based cities, which the majority were, because they had to do manufacturing, they had to have agriculture and various other things to supply the needs of civilization. But all of them, whether floating or ground-based, were rather interesting in their governmental form. They had essentially no government. There's no government as we know it today. There was no money, there's no banks, there's no political jurisdictions, and there was resolved down to what would be best called a city-state structure, where the city is the state, and any other cities from that one are independent and operate in their own independent manner. So that was the major change there. There was no elected government, there was no appointed government, there was no government as we haven't seen it in the past. As I found out, each city was run by an intelligent computer, synthetic intelligence, synthetic consciousness, a highly radioactive crystalline structure. Who built them, I had no idea. Nobody seemed to know, but they've been there for hundreds of years. And this computer ran the entire city. There were guidelines set down, there were law books, but no courts. There were guidelines set down as to how you're to behave, what your parameters were. Within these parameters, anything went. Anything was not considered kosher within this realm, this parameter limit, would be expressed as a yellow zone, i.e. a zone that you don't want to go into and you don't want to become involved in that type of behavior. If you got out into that area, you were given an invite for a reprimand to the computer, which there was one in every city, running each city. You would literally be called in for a, shall we say, an interview or an audience with the computer, and you would be advised that you had broken the law, but it wasn't considered a felony, it was a misdemeanor. Misdemeanor and such. If you were judged guilty, you were sent off to one of the work camps for whatever purpose they did in the work camps. It would be much like today, I presume, where any kind of labor, menial or otherwise, had to be done was done. And that was compulsory, that was not voluntary. If you were called in because you had gone outside the yellow zone into what is called the red zone, which is basically what you would today call a felony offense, you were immediately called in for an interview. You were examined, looked at, talked to, and if the computer at that point thought that you were rehabilitable, that you could learn again to be sociable and within the social bounds of normalcy, you were given one more chance. If the computer decided that you were not capable of fitting into society, you were terminated right then and there. Now, there were other people who didn't feel like they could fit into the society, but had not yet committed any of the so-called offenses. Literally, they were allowed to leave. The word was, if you don't like it here, go live somewhere else. Go out in the boonies if you want. Live as a hermit. We don't care. And many did. I do not know what percentage. I was told that quite a lot of people had left the cities and gone out in the boondocks. Whether they formed communities or not, I never did find out. If you weren't required to work, which no one was required to, other than their social obligation, which was well inculcated into the kids, that you had an obligation to contribute to society, to pay for what you have been using and had inherited. for which no money was involved. A sort of credit system was still functional, but otherwise, except for fairly large credit purchases, if that is the right term, they didn't really keep track of very much. It was considered quite free as long as you were able to make some contributions and nobody overloaded the system with demands. That happened very seldom, that there was an overloaded of demand for goods or services. So as a result of that, there was very little abuse of the system. Now, in this period of time, talking with many people, making friends, I had a number of questions. Who built this computer system? That was my first and foremost question. Who maintains it? What happens when it breaks down? Very common questions. No common answer. Very much uncommon answers. First question about the cities, who built them, who maintains them, who maintains the computers, it's rather hard to answer and get an answer to. No one really knew much about the history of the construction of the city or how it ran, other than the computer, and you couldn't request an interview. You couldn't request to go in and ask questions. The aspect of how these computers communicated with each other was unknown. But it did make, the one I talked with did make a number of interesting statements over a period of time. They have been around for about 200, 250 years in this format and this system.
So first off, do y'all believe in time travelers? If so, let me know down below. Because if all of what he's saying is true, that would be crazy. And it seems like we're kind of leaning towards that path already, doesn't it? You know, with the AI and, you know, I think, you know, eventually as it gets smarter and smarter, it will be able to control and run cities. I think they're trying to do that already, right? The 15-minute smart cities or whatever they call them, you know, run by AI. We getting there, y'all.
En el mismo lugar de la Antártida donde se registraron el día del eclipse. Les cuento. Resulta que el famoso radar de mareas de la página Ventusky o Ventusky ha vuelto a registrar anomalías similares a las del día del eclipse. No una, sino dos veces más, el 25 y el 27 de abril. Lo único es que esta vez...
I don't speak Spanish, so I can't.
Have you guys heard of the random staircases that lead nowhere in the national parks? I just want to state this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I'm going to show you a video clip, and then we're going to talk about it.
Conspiracy time. I believe that some very heavily guarded secrets are located inside state and national parks.
Wow.
Hear me out. So I'm a supervisor at a state park. I have keys to almost every building. I have access code to almost every gate. I have access to places in the park that staff aren't allowed to go, and I have access to the park where general public is not allowed to go. You cannot fly drones over top this park, as well as many other parks. There is a very heavy undercover presence here, and I know that for a fact.
Whoa.
There has been numerous times where large portions of the park were shut down due to archaeological reasons. And there has been numerous instances where certain parking lots were completely shut down and filled with National Guard and military vehicles. There are animals back here that are not supposed to be here. Like last year, I actually saw a lemur in the state park in Florida. There are reports of exotic animals that are not supposed to be here. When they're reported to us, we're told to tell them that is because there is exotic breeders just outside the park and sometimes those animals get out. Is that true? I don't know. Going down the rabbit hole in the state parks and out in the wilderness, there have been reports of staircases. Just random staircases out in the forest. Yeah, staircases. Leading to nowhere. Look it up. So yeah, I believe that there's things being...
Here's what I found. What is the stairs in the woods forest? The fundamental explanation for the phenomena of the stairs in the woods is that they are escalators that rise from the ground to the sky. The mysterious stairs are usually seen in the night and look like they have not been constructed in the woods. There is no other building or structure around it. Over the years, the mysteries of the United States national parks have come to life. People regularly missing in these parks. There were also innumerable accounts of cryptids and aliens. Spontaneous human burning in the national park has even been recorded. Stories of walkers who come across mysterious staircases add to its foreshadowing and atmosphere. The legend suggests that hikers who explore the national park sometimes find whole steps randomly put in the forest which reach up to the city at different heights. These stairs seem like someone cut a step out of a building and pasted it in the woods. Now, this was on a TV show many years ago called Channel Zero, but let's continue. There is no one else in the neighborhood, only a single staircase leads to none. Some report that staircases were placed upside down on the ground. While most of the stair stories are of the USA national parks, people worldwide have begun to recount their stories of mysterious staircases located deep in the forest. The staircases do not seem to be found in the pattern. Some of who uncovered them have also found evidence of tombs in the vicinity. Now, this totally reminds me of this show called Channel Zero Butcher Block, and this girl moves into this neighborhood, and there's a park close by, but not a national park, and she finds a random staircase. This one, the show is very interesting, but absolutely disturbing. Ultimately, in the show, it leads to another dimension, and you know what they say? They tell us in the movie. Again, this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Could the stairs be remnants of a lost civilization? I don't know. Could they lead to another dimension? I guess it's possible. Could these stairs be the remnants of a lost civilization? No, because some of them appear to be new in structure. As the article said, I'm just saying what the gentleman is saying that's the supervisor and what the article I found said. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, share, comment, follow, do it.
Yeah, what do y'all think, man? First off, if you see some stairs like that in the forest, are you going to go up the stairs or not? I don't know. I don't think I'm messing with it. What if those stairs were from like a UFO or something, right? And the UFO is cloaked, but then it puts the stairs out there trying to see if you'll come up to the stairs. And then it takes you somewhere. I don't know, man. It could be anything. I really don't know. I need to look into that. But yeah, these are some of the most creepy and bizarre TikToks that are out there. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bells on, and until next time, YouTube, peace.